Most loved and hated man, Dan Bilzerian.
Dan Bilzerian, everyone's least favorite playboy, has been exposed many times.
Dan, you've lost 1 million followers in the last 12 months.
Dan Bilzerian just lost everything.
Dan Bilzerian is right now broke and homeless. Dan Bilzerian got exposed. Dan Bilzerian getting arrested. Blah, blah, blah. I know you've heard many of these already in many videos, but guys, this guy is legit in trouble. Like his father, he tried to scam multi-million dollars, and guess what? He did it with his father. Yes. And finally, after losing everything, Dan Bilzerian is about to go to jail. How? And what's going on? Watch this video till the end because scammers like Dan Bilzerian need to go to jail. Before I start this video, let's first talk about who Dan Bilzerian really is. Because trust me, this guy didn't just become famous by playing poker or showing off models and jets on Instagram. His entire life is built on a carefully crafted lie. Dan was born into luxury. His father, Paul Bilzerian, was a corporate raider in the 1980s, a man who made millions through shady deals and stock manipulation.
He's a felon, a certified scam artist. He specialized in corporate takeovers and was really good at hiding money. And he was ordered to pay all of that money back. He said, I don't got it, so he filed for bankruptcy.
But when it all came crashing down, Paul got convicted of fraud and was ordered to pay back over $60 million. You know how much he actually paid? Just $3 million. Now here's the twist. After being banned from owning or being involved in any company ever again, Paul secretly helped run Dan's company, Ignite International. Yes, the weed and lifestyle brand Dan used to show off his fake billionaire lifestyle. That company was under investigation for financial fraud, and behind the scenes, his dad was pulling the strings the entire time. Dan once publicly said that he only talks to his dad 2 or 3 times a year.
Talk to him? No, I do. I talk to him probably 4 or 5 times a year.
But leaked court documents later revealed that Paul Bilzerian was actively involved in running Ignite, helping make financial decisions and even signing off on company business. Dan's company reported losses of over $50 million in just 1 year. Most of it spent on his private jets, yachts, models, and mansions.
Oh my God, the company lost $50 million in a year, and it's like, well, Uber lost $5 billion in a quarter. You know what I mean? Like some companies lose money.
When investors started asking questions, that's when things really got exposed. Dan has also filed for bankruptcy before, and with all this shady history, there's now serious speculation and legal interest surrounding his involvement in financial fraud. If convicted, he could face up to 10 or more years in prison, depending on the charges and how deeply he's connected to his father's past schemes. So first, let's talk about what's really going on with Dan Bilzerian. I want to show you a clip where Dan is literally explaining his so-called business strategy and claiming that everything people say about him is false. But here's the thing. This video is the proof of how someone can lie straight to your face, ignore all the consequences, and hide behind fame and a brand name. Just watch this clip.
I think it's one of those things where I think also people don't really understand too much about business, and they look at it like, oh my God, the company lost $50 million in a year, and it's like, well, Uber lost $5 billion in a quarter. You know what I mean? Like some companies lose money. Most companies lose money when they start. The headlines were like, Dan Bilzerian was faking everything. And it's like, I've been doing this for 10 years. Like I was famous for being rich like 8 years before Ignite started.
So as you just heard, he claims he was already famous and rich 8 years before Ignite even started. But the real question is, how did he actually make that money? Because most of the time, Dan says he didn't take his father's money and that he earned everything on his own. But when it came out that his dad made all his money through scams, and then we found out Dan also used that scammed money, the whole story started falling apart. And the worst part, even when you show these guys clear evidence, they just brush it off like, you don't understand business, or everyone lies, or we're rich so we must be right. That's the mindset of these shady scammers, getting rich by ripping people off, then hiding behind a fake lifestyle.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think like the narrative, you know, the clickbait that they were running was more irritating than anything just because it was all bullshit. You know, it's like, oh, Dan Bilzerian's fleeing the country, he's bankrupt. There was a decent amount of people that actually believed it, which was kind of, I mean, I guess it makes sense, you know, people are, you know, programmed till they see it in the news and it's like, oh, this must be true.
Yeah, this is exactly how these shady millionaire types operate. First, they do some kind of scam or crime, and when they finally get caught, they just say something completely illogical, like it's all a misunderstanding. And if that doesn't work, they just throw money at the problem until it goes away. That's their real behavior. They cover up their mess with fame, wealth, and PR, and look at how they brand themselves. Dan Bilzerian calls himself the Instagram King, like that somehow erases all the shady stuff behind the scenes. Same thing with Liver King. He scammed his entire audience by pretending to live some raw, natural lifestyle while secretly taking steroids the whole time. That's the pattern. These so-called millionaire influencers build their fame by lying, scamming, and fooling people. They're not kings of anything. They're just scam kings in disguise. And if you watch this video, you'll see that when in a podcast, the interviewer asked how much his company Ignite is worth, this guy doesn't even give a straight answer.
So how much money are you worth today?
Guess it depends on what my company sells for. I mean, hopefully like 350-ish, you know, I don't know. Probably.
Million?
Yeah.
By the way, this is not the first time his main scam was exposed. When Shark Tank's famous Kevin O'Leary asked him about his finances, after he claimed he bought that mansion for over $600 million, which in reality he was actually renting for $200,000 per month, he quickly dodged the question about his finances, just like in this previous video.
Can you write any of this off? Because it's really promoting your brand and your lifestyle.
I mean, I have to talk to my accountant about all of it.
Dan Bilzerian is basically hiding everything behind a fake lifestyle, jets, models, mansions, and whenever someone confronts him, he just brushes it off by saying people are clickbaiting with false news. But here's the truth. It's not clickbait if it's real. What's even crazier is that Dan is starting to look like a copy-paste version of his dad, Paul Bilzerian. His father was charged for bankruptcy fraud, and now Dan is out here using him like some shady business advisor, learning how to run scams just like him. And while pretending everything's legit, Dan was secretly moving money out of his company, hiding it from his own board of directors. That's not just bad business. That's straight up fraud, hiding behind fame.
Business advisor was, it starts to plummet again because the business advisor was none other than his father, Paul Bilzerian. And here's where things start to get wicked. See, Paul Bilzerian was not allowed to technically be his advisor. They find out the person who gave him all that money in the first place was helping him run his company in the background. And now the FBI gets involved because you see, part of his conviction was if your name and company come up in the same sentence, we finna get on your ass. Paul said, oh, I ain't going back to the pen. He said, I was just helping my son out for free.
So just like the scammer father, now the son is getting exposed too. And when all the dirty secrets start coming out, they start shrinking. That fake confidence, that loud lifestyle, suddenly it all goes quiet. Because when the truth hits, even the so-called Instagram king turns into a silent clown.
And why won't he be spoiled? You tell me. This guy was born in ultra luxury. In a podcast with Rogan, this guy was bragging about his richness, saying no money can buy happiness.
You know, when I was 16, like my dream car was a Mustang Cobra, right? So if I got a Mustang Cobra, I would have been at a 10, right? But you know, a Ferrari would also bring me to a 10. I mean, but you can't go higher than a 10, right? So let's just say that I got, the Ferrari when I was 16, and now we flash forward, I graduate college, and my dad gives me let's say he gives me a BMW M5. If I had the Ferrari, now I'm going to be kind of like probably at a 7, right? Because I'm stepping down in a car. You know, people ask like why rich people aren't as happy, and I just think it's because they've upped the bar so far that only the best things satisfy them.
Did you see that? Don't ever believe these people in so-called podcasts, because you just saw the ultra-rich turn out to be a scammer who was wrecking other people's money for luxury. And now that all the controversy is surrounding his scams, guess what Dan Bilzerian is doing? He's suddenly trying to act like some high IQ political expert. Like that's going to erase his shady past. Yep, you heard that right. In a recent PBD podcast, he was out here criticizing both Donald Trump and the Democratic Party like he's some kind of wise political analyst. Like, bro, you scammed people with a weed company, blew investor money on private jets and girls, and now you're pretending to be the voice of reason in politics? It's honestly hilarious. That's what these fake rich scammers do. When the heat's on, they switch lanes and act like philosophers.
They're both, fucking Biden's giving Israel shitloads of money. Like, what do you mean? Trump's going to give shitloads of money. Trump's going to fucking go to war with Iran. What are you talking about? They're both fucking...
You think Trump's going to go to war with Iran?
He said he's going to.
No, it's his way of saying to not go to war.
He puts
the same way he said with everybody else that he was going to push them, or war didn't happen. He said...
I don't know. I feel like he said that he was going to...
So then let me ask you, so who would you vote for today? It doesn't sound like you're voting for anybody.
Kamala's half a fucking retard, and she pushes, all this woke left ideology. This is nonsense. Like, she's a fucking complete moron. Not that Trump is like a super genius either, but like light years past her. She was like one of the most hated people. Like how she even got the fucking nomination is beyond me. Like how they didn't give it a big mic is crazy. Like,
you ever heard of You're so funny?
Exactly. When I saw that clip, I had the same reaction as PBD. Like, bro, who are you? You're out here criticizing Kamala Harris and even talking about Donald Trump like you're some political genius when you clearly don't even know what either of them actually said. You're just repeating rumors and half-baked opinions like it's deep commentary. How can someone who has no real knowledge suddenly act like he's above the system, and now he's throwing shots at both Democrats and Republicans like he's about to join Elon Musk's imaginary third party or something? It honestly feels like this is just another shady strategy to distract people. Like if he talks politics, maybe people will forget he was scamming investors and running a failing business. But this time, It didn't work. The authorities finally caught up with him, and as I said at the beginning of the video, there are some serious consequences he might face now. They could completely destroy his fake empire. So now let me break it down for you. Okay, here's the truth. If Dan Bilzerian gets fully investigated for what happened with Ignite, using investor money for his own lifestyle, filing shady reports, and secretly working with his banned father, he could face serious prison time. Securities fraud, lying to investors and faking company success, that's up to 20 years. Wire fraud, using company funds for private jets and models, another 20 years possible. Conspiracy, letting his banned father secretly help run the company, that could add 5 more years. So in total, Dan could be looking at anywhere from 5 to 20 plus years in federal prison, just like his dad once did. And this isn't just a guess, it's based on real US federal laws. So now that you've seen the full video, it's clear Dan Bilzerian is on the edge of total collapse. And honestly, this isn't just about him, it's a lesson for everyone. This is how shady businessmen rig the system, build a fake lifestyle, and fool millions of people into thinking they're living the dream. Meanwhile, people keep following them like they're some kind of inspiration, and that's the real tragedy. It shows how easily we get scammed by these so-called billionaires. And don't even be surprised if they end up escaping all consequences, because they know how to throw money around to shut everything down. That's how they play the game. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget, the more we expose these fake lifestyles, the harder it becomes for them to keep lying.